Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by Tri-County Logging. Experienced in sustainable forestry practices, Tri-County Logging can help you manage your property by keeping your woods healthy and generate income. Serving southern and mid-Michigan for nearly 50 years, TriCountyLogging.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson-Silik and we are out here on Thunder Bay outside of Alpena and we are spearing whitefish. I just got my very first one ever. First time I've ever been out doing anything like this. These guys are amazing. It's a lot of fun. You won't want to miss that story on this week's show. And Jimmy and Jordan have some other fun in store for us this week too.
Well, that's right, Jenny. We do have another story on this week's show, and it's something we don't do a whole lot of this time of the year. That is open water fish on Lake Michigan in December. It can be a little dicey, but if you find the right day, it can be a lot of fun. Lots of good stuff on this week's show. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors.
What a beautiful day in the woods.
Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream. It's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's meat processor and Michigan destination since 1988. Offers a variety of homemade smoked meats and Michigan-made products in-store and online. The Country Smokehouse features an outdoor barbecue and bar. Details at countrysmokehouse.com. By Jay's Sporting Goods, with locations in Clare and Gaylord. Jay's has been serving the Michigan outdoor enthusiast since 1971, with a wide variety of outdoor products. The gear, the knowledge, the tradition of Jay's. On the web at jaysportinggoods.com. By Grilla Grills of Holland, Michigan, makers of wood pellet, charcoal grills, and professional pellet smokers. Grilla Grills are designed for ease of use to improve your grilling and smoking skills. More information at grillagrills.com.
Soaking in the rich tradition of Michigan hunting for over 30 years. Vanguard is proud to sponsor our friends at Michigan Out of Doors TV.
Last week found me in Manistee, crawling aboard what could possibly be one of the last big boats still on the water on this side of the state.
Today's December 1st. We're going out of Manistee on the Big Lake. We are going to try and catch some steelhead. That's our focal point on today's trip, is targeting the steelhead in the top 20 foot of water. We will be fishing for some kings on our riggers and divers also in case we hook up on a nice king. But weather has been really tough this fall. It's been windy and the lake it's been rolling over a lot. The water temperature is 43 degrees on the surface, which is pretty warm for this time of year. So we're gonna target the steelhead and see what happens.
Also on board today to help reel in fish was my buddy Jeff Miller and a legend here in West Michigan fishing, Mark Chimura.
This is my 30th year doing this, and you know, we had a pretty good run of steelhead earlier this year, and it was doing really good up the river. But what happened here is the river water got a lot colder than the lake water, and we're like 10 degrees difference between the river and the lake. Okay. So there's like a wall that we can't see, but a hot to cold water wall, and it's keeping the fish out there. So a lot of the guys up the river are struggling, and it's nice to be able to go out and do this, but you got to really watch yourself because the water's so cold. You know, it's dangerous, but it's a lot of fun. You won't see nobody out there. It's an awesome way to fish.
Well, typically, you know, when we come out here, we look for any slicks, which is, you'll see some glacier water. It'll kind of look like it's calmer than the rest of the water. And we're looking for the birds. You'll see a lot of birds flying over the top of a certain area in the water column. and there's usually some bait fish that are hanging out right there.
Okay.
So that kind of gives you an idea where to start. And once you find that out, you'll set rods like over to the right over there. There's some birds, probably a quarter mile away sitting on the water right now. So we're going to set lines and work towards those birds, and then hopefully we'll get all set up and hit a fish right away then.
Well, the first fish of the day was in the boat after searching for a bit, but this size is a perfect eater size for sure.
But there's a really good year class of this size steelhead right now,
Yeah.
which is really promising, for the next 2, 3, 4 years. So I got one for the grill. We'll get some bigger ones.
Once we found the fish, we stayed on them for most of the morning. While Jeff reeled in another fish, I asked Lenny how he got started fishing up this way.
I moved up here about 7 years ago to Manistee. I used to fish here a few tournaments, and the fishing is probably the best year-round fishing. It starts in May, and even as early as April for the brown trout, and it goes all the way until now, until the weather forces you off. So the kings running up the Manistee and the Little Manistee River, there's a good wild population of fish here, so it's a good stable place to fish year-round for salmon also.
Well, Lenny was up next, and it looked like we had found a bigger fish.
Hey, whoa!
Definitely nicer fish.
That's a dandy.
That's a good one. There are some big ones out here. Just have to weed through them. Oh yeah.
Whoa, look at that fish.
Steelhead fishing here in December.
Wow.
That's the mojo too.
And you look at this gentleman right here. If you look at him, you wouldn't think he could do something like this, would you? All right, here you go. Have your fish, Lenny.
All right.
Today was a lot of fun for several reasons. Of course, connecting with fish is great, but seeing these guys who typically are helping others reel in fish, reel in a few for themselves, well, it was pretty special. And since we had a few extra hands on deck, even I was able to take a crack at one.
Oh, no! Oh, jeez, oh Pete. That fish was jumping out of the water so much. Oh.
Well, it must have been some faulty equipment, I am sure. But right after mine got off at the back of the boat, we had another nice steelhead on. Of course, I got so much grief for losing the one fish, I had to make sure that this one got into the boat.
Good, Omar. All right, we're good. Big fish. Big steelhead. Big steelhead. Oh, baby.
Whoa!
Andy.
That's a fish. Look at that big steelhead. Woo-hoo-hoo! Nice job, Captain.
Thank you.
December 1st, Lake Michigan. Never done anything like this. What a great fish.
Now, my buddy Jeff is a very avid angler, and it was pretty funny that every fish he was reeling in, well, it was on the smaller size. But you know what? I barely mentioned that to him all day long.
Well, at least we brought you to catch all the small ones, Jeff.
I'm your man for that.
You're filling in the gaps.
Now, we did have a few downriggers set for kings to start the day, but we quickly realized we needed to pull those up and just target the top of the water column. Manistee has a lot to offer the angler.
Pretty much from Big Point, which is down by Ludington, just about 7 miles north of Ludington, there is a real big drop-off, and that runs pretty much all the way up past Arcadia, and then it slowly tapers off up by Frankfurt, and it drops off into deeper water up there. But there's a ledge out there, and it pretty much pushes, if you get west-southwest winds, it pushes the fish up against that ledge, and it really funnels them in there. We were on the outside of that today. The fish were out a little bit deeper. We were pretty much fishing between 300 and 400 foot of water. For whatever reasons, they were out a little bit farther today off of that shelf. But the Manistee has a really great structure based on you can fish anywhere from the point all the way up to Arcadia. So you have 25 miles of that shelf, and you're not congregated, like down by the point where all the Ludington boats fish. So it makes it nice up here.
You got a big one there?
Either that or a little one with a big attitude.
Not Lenny.
No.
Little one with a big attitude?
Lenny's real little with a really big attitude.
In all seriousness, Mark, who has fished these waters for a while, was singing the praises of Lenny, who is really becoming a name in this part of the state.
I'm pretty light now.
So Mark was in the business of milking what seemed like a very good fish. And in the meantime, we had another fish hit. Jeff was up to bat, and really by the time Jeff had his to the boat, Mark's fish was almost ready as well. Now, if you ever wonder why some of these guys carry 2 big nets, well, this is why.
Oh, that's a toad! Wow!
Wow. That's a steelhead.
The man, the myth, the legend comes through.
I might go fishing with you guys again.
Nice fish! Holy cow! Wow!
Fish, huh?
Now, Jimmy, now I can say it. Now, Jimmy, what had happened is I was reeling it in. You got to know when to pull and when not to pull. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I can get away with that now.
Look at
right?
that fish.
What a country.
Gosh. That's as good as the steelhead gets, isn't it?
Yeah, I tell you what, I'd love to go with you guys again. I mean, it's not too often that a captain gets to catch a fish this size.
Man,
Beautiful
that's
fish.
Good job with your fish, too.
Oh man. Couple of dandies. And some fish too.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, there you go.
So we're 1 fish shy of a limit. We're reeling in the last rod, I am. Nothing on it, just bringing it in the board. Fish hits it while I'm reeling it in. So I really don't want to lose this one.
And he come out in the net.
And it came out of the net.
All right.
Whoa, look at that tangerine. Oh, wow. Last fish of the day, reeling it in and it hits it. It's better to be lucky than good, I tell you what. What a nice fish. Nice job, captains.
There again, I just want to let you all know out there in Michigan, it don't get no better than this. And as you can see, anybody can do this.
That is true.
What a great day on the water. December steelhead fishing on the big water. We ended up going 12 for 13 and had a lot of laughs. Just another example of what our great state has to offer us here in Michigan's Out of Doors. Well, we had a lot of fun with those guys, and I tell you what, as we got back to the dock, I was actually able to hear about Mark's invention that he's put together over the last few years. It's a product that really shows how innovative our sportsmen can be.
So Mark, tell me about this this new rod holder that you got going on. How did you start with this whole idea?
Well, about 4 years ago, one of my customer friends kind of challenged me. He wanted wanted me to build him a rod holder for his boat, and I just wanted to get one of the ones that are out on the market, and he wasn't fond of that. So he wanted one to go in any position. So I made one that went anywhere up and down, and he brought it to him and he said, "That's beautiful. Now can you make it go left and right?" And this gentleman invented the modem for the computer. Good friend, very smart guy. And I said, if you can invent a modem for a computer, I can make this thing go left and right. Little did I know, 3 days later on my desk, scratching with pen and paper, I couldn't come up with anything. And then I think on the 3rd day, the Lord looked down on me and said, I'm going to give the guy a bone because he's working so hard. He's dumb as a box of rocks, but I'll help him out. So I came up with this thing, and it's unbelievable. I've been having the time of my life for the last 3 years with it. And this one's made out of all stainless. It can be for a diver rod, anything, but I put detents in there so that when you're turning your diver rod around, you can have it anywhere you want it. And the rod holder virtually goes anywhere. So
Yeah, show me that again. So if you grab onto that little clamp,
just squeeze it together and wherever you want it, and then you just let go and it stays there. Done.
wow.
Tremendous amount of pressure you can put on it. 316 stainless. We can't find a better material to make out. You can't do it any better. And I'm just enjoying trying to make the best mousetrap I can because the ingredients are all there, so it's really enjoyable and it's good for Michigan.
Yeah,
We do
and now
what we
when will
can to help
these-
the sportsmen out.
When will these be on the market then, you think?
They'll be on for sure this spring. We'll have a ton of them, but they'll start at the Grand Rapids show.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
coming to a town near you.
I love to see how creative the Michigan sportsmen can be. Time after time coming up with something to help our time in the woods or on the water. Whether it's a new rod holder or a better stinger hook, our sportsmen and women are a pretty amazing group of folks.
For the last few years, I've been talking with Dave Birmingham in Alpena about getting some footage of spearing whitefish with he and his buddies up there. Well, it seems like the fish are always in and the conditions are just right about the beginning of firearm deer season, so I've never been able to make it up there. Well, this year, Dave called and said the fish were in a week early, so I headed up. Tell me what's going on tonight.
Well, the whitefish are in. We're going whitefish spearing. We're only fishing on Thunder Bay
Yeah.
along the shoreline. We'll be spearing in rocks where rocks meet the sand in 4 to 6 feet of water. You got to remember refraction. I've brought a few
you're
guys.
under?
Yes. The top time. We'll show you when you get out there.
Cool.
It's
All
pretty.
right.
It's pretty easy to do if they're in.
How much
so-
do the spears weigh?
I don't know, 6, 8 pounds.
Oh, okay.
6 pounds, 8 pounds. Because you want to be able to stick them and bring them out of the water and put them in the boat.
Ah. All right. And what's the limit?
12.
12 per person. Who do we have going?
I have Nathan Skibby, he's the Alpena Township Supervisor, and I have Jason Snyder from Two Hearted Charters,
Cool.
and I'm retired. We've been doing this for a few years.
All right.
Normally it's been happening around deer season, which is your busy time the last few years, but we're in the rocks, where the rocks and the sand meet. That's kind of where they're spawning at, in 3 to 4 feet of waters. The time they spawn could be up to a month or 6 weeks, but you got to go when the water's calm. So this has been the calmest night we've had since the beginning of this, so we were kind of lucky that way.
How deep are we right now?
About 4.5 feet.
Okay.
It's kind of difficult to spear anything more than 6 or 7 feet deep.
Okay.
So
Now, do you actually get up there and spear, Dave?
I haven't in a while. Like tonight when there wasn't as many fish as we normally see, we get on one and we'll stay on it and they'll direct me to which way to go. And I have a tiller and I can stay on fish pretty good as they direct me. It's difficult as the depth changes. It gets more difficult as it gets deeper.
Wow. Just like that.
You're taking that one home.
Man. That's crazy. How long is that fish, you think?
25, 6.
25, 26 inches?
Right now, I think they're almost starting to peak because the females are starting the eggs when you spear them, they come out. And at the end, they won't have any eggs, and then it kind of drops right off to nothing. The males come in first, which happened last week, and now the females are in, which we speared mostly females tonight.
Jason seemed to have the hot hand as we started out, and he was bringing in fish number 2 of the night. Nathan talked about why he loves being a part of the action out here.
It's just, it's a different technique, obviously. Fly fisherman at heart, but I've grown up doing this it's become a really close-knit family of people that are actively doing this year in, year out. So the camaraderie and just the sheer hilarity is it's exciting, and it's just a different technique. A general aspect is having grown up in Michigan and Alpena being my hometown. It's nice to have a little showcase from a TV show I grew up on.
Wow.
Tickled. I did pull the trigger. Tickle? Straight ahead, Dave. Right. Right.
Full speed, yep.
Keep going. He's working with me.
Little right, little right, little right.
Keep going.
Little right.
Right, hard.
Hard right.
Speed.
Speed.
Headshot. Oh yeah.
The guys were having a blast out here in Thunder Bay, and Nathan says it's a fairly unique fishery with a narrow window of opportunity.
We're a very large, shallow water basin here in Thunder Bay. with a lot of rocky outcrops, as being part of the Alpena Lorraine Ridge. So we're very unique. Northern Lake Huron still is the higher density of biomass of whitefish in Lake Huron, but I would imagine anywhere where you can find the substrates that we showed tonight, you'd be able to find, especially this time of year, shallow water whitefish, because they are coming in to spawn. So it affords the ability for people that haven't had the chance to see what we've seen and the opportunities to go out and try something different.
Jason, Nathan, and Dave said that tonight was a little slow, but we steadily stayed on the whitefish and picked away at them. We don't have any footage to prove it, but after a while, I put down the camera and speared some too. A calm night in shallow water is the key here. If there's any chop on the water, or if it gets deeper than 6 feet, visibility is greatly reduced.
Oh, I kicked the bite. There's 2 of them right there. I kicked the boat.
Give him some warning.
Okay, there he is. Straight ahead.
You like moving targets better.
Straight ahead, Dave.
It's
Keep going.
difficult as the depth changes. It gets more difficult as it gets deeper because of refraction. So you got to hold the spear right. The fish is swimming. You take the top tine of the spear, and you point at the bottom part of the fish or underneath the fish even.
Okay, and the boat's moving. Talk about
Right,
that.
and the boat's moving at 2 miles an hour, sometimes even a little faster.
Straight.
How did you get started doing this?
I read about them, and I knew they were in so heavy and so thick, and it was October, and I started different ways. The underwater lights, my dad back many, many years ago, when you could spear perch and pike back in the 50s, they had underwater lights, and I can remember as a child seeing the lights, so I try to change that. But I come up with a pretty simple way to do it.
In addition to the underwater lights on the bow of the boat, tonight we had my camera light as well. Sometimes it was helpful, and sometimes it created a glare on top of the water and made it more difficult to see the fish. Part of what makes whitefish spearing a challenge is keeping the fish on your spear once you've made contact with it. With the boat constantly moving forward, it's best to keep the spear in the current so the force of the water holds the fish on the tines until it comes out of the water. That makes for a heavy battle. Nathan has some advice for folks trying this for the first time.
Take an ibuprofen and do some stretches before you go out. Yeah. Key is core strength. The spears that we're using, they're about 8 inches across, 5 tines on a 10-foot ash handmade pole. Total weight's probably right around 7 pounds.
Keep going.
Pretty effective. Gives you some versatility, whether it's in shallow water or deep. The nice aspect of having the wood platform for a solid handle base is that if chances are, if you have to let a fish go that is on a spear in deeper water, it will float. So you can always double back on it.
Straight. Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
So what do you do with all these fish then?
Well, everybody's got plans. My partner Jason, he loves smoking fish. He'll smoke fish 24/7. He runs a bait store here, and he keeps it going. I pickled some fish. I'm getting ready to can some fish, and we've been eating fish every day, practically, different ways. Panko deep fried. We had them pan fried. We had them in the oven. It's just been awesome. Eating fresh is great.
Cooler's getting kind of full, hey?
Yeah, we're getting close. Jenny's already got 8 this evening. She's a killer.
I did.
Yes.
No
good
one's
job.
gonna believe it.
I'm telling you, that is awesome.
We had a riot out here, and by the end of the night, all 3 of us had our limits of whitefish and a couple of burbot added in the mix. Special thanks to Dave Birmingham, Nathan Skibby, and Jason Snyder for taking us on an amazing adventure here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching Michigan Out of Doors this week. Hopefully you're getting out and enjoying the last few days of the firearm deer season. Lots of good stuff coming over the next several weeks. Kind of our tradition over the last few years anyways has been to kind of go through month by month and show you all the variety that our state has to offer. We're going to be doing that over the next couple of weeks and showing you some of our favorite stories throughout the year of 2019. Lots of good stuff coming over the next several weeks, and if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully you'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and Northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. By EOTech, a Michigan company, equipping law enforcement and sportsmen alike with quality optics, creating jobs for Michigan workers. On the web at eotechgear.com. By Final Rest. Final Rest is a Michigan company that offers portable stability you can take with you into the field. Information on all their options can be found at finalrestshootingsystems.com. By Showspan, producing consumer shows including the Ultimate Fishing Show Detroit, January 9th through 12th at Novi Suburban Collection Showplace. The show features fishing tackle, trips, boats, and seminars from top pros. The Ultimate Fishing Show, Novi, January 9th through 12th. Closed captioning provided by Randy's Hunting Center, serving Michigan as Ruger and Leupold's National Dealer of the Year and inventor of Ruger's 450 Bushmaster rifle.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. White-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, East to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my